Welcome to another episode of One on One with AV. I got a special guest in the house, man. Kevin Savo, writer and director of the movie The Opener with Positive K, The Adventures of SaveAHoe YouTube series, and the co-writer and creator of the song Thot Mommies. You already know this shit gonna be a classic. Make sure you guys like the video upon entry. Let everybody know we on right now. Share the video. Show's gonna start in a few minutes. Let's vibe out in the meantime. Let's go. Yeah. Welcome to another episode of One on One with AV, man. I got a special guest in the house, man. Kevin Savo, writer, director of the movie The Opener with Positive K, The Adventures of SaveAHoe YouTube series, and the co-writer and creator of the song Thot Mommies. Mr. Savo, I appreciate you for being here, man. How you doing today?
Hey, it's good to be here, man. I had my eye on you a long time, so it's good to be here with you. I would have freestyled over your intro song, but I'd be scared to death that it wouldn't match up on the StreamYard.
Let's go. Hold up. I was a little reluctant to ask you for some bars because a lot of dudes are sleeping. We might have to get Kevin.
They always sleep. I don't know if it'll match up on the StreamYard, but I'd probably say something like this for the occasion.
Bet.
Something like, hey, yo,
hold on. Let me put a track on real quick. Hold on, put the track.
I don't know if it's gonna match up this long distance, will it?
Let's go. Let's see. Let's give it a shot. Let's go. Kevin Savo. He will drop a freestyle real quick. Let's drop some bars. Hold up.
We're gonna do like 4 bars on that intro song.
Let's go.
Okay. Let's see if it matches up. Hey, yo, alpha villains. I came up in the stream. That's 2 alphas chilling. You and me on the same show. That's top alpha villain. I'm like the alpha male strategies at Alpha Village. That's top alpha billing. Did it match up?
Yeah, it worked. Yo, you already know. Don't get it twisted. A lot of you dudes are sleeping. You sleeping on AV. You sleeping on Kevin Savo. It's about that time. And I appreciate you for being here, man. You have a very interesting story. And like you, I've had my eye on you as well. Like I said, we're both green. And it's like 2 dudes chopping it up about this red pill shit that we were kind of dragged in, kind of fell into. And I think it'll be a really compelling story. So if you don't mind, Kevin, let's just dive right in, bro. Let everybody know who you are, what led you into this space, and what exactly do you do, bro?
So technically, at the place that I'm at right now, I'm an amateur filmmaker. I won't give myself more credit than that. I do make movies on my own, usually with 2-3 people behind the camera, a very small crew, a really dedicated DP. But for the most part, because of like what I'm able to get my hands on in terms of crew and help and assistance and money, usually 80% of the work is done by me: writing, directing, casting, scheduling, financing out of pocket. So the movie I did with Positive K cost like $8,000 out of pocket, $1,000 from crowdfunding just from my hometown, and took 3 years to complete because that's the only way to make a whole feature film on a short budget or on a small budget. And so that's the name of the game of what I do, because I'm going to be 26 in May. And I just figured the game has changed. The game has become a lot more corporate, and I don't have any dream of trying to chase down a celebrity with a mixtape. No dream of trying to chase down a celebrity with a mixtape. No dream of auditioning in Hollywood and wasting the rest of my 20s sleeping on the street saying I got some good material. When you know what the thing is with local rappers, local talents, actors that haven't quite made it yet. They
Right.
think it's this big group effort family hug. They believe in a sense of community. And I'm the realist. Just like being red pill is not just about women, it's about everything. It's just red
Right.
pill. Red pill is just a slang term for
Mm.
understanding how things really work. That's it.
Yo, don't get it fucked up. You see, he already dropping gems on you dudes already. Yo, he just said red pill's a slang term. We're gonna get into that in a little bit. But I will say this, Kevin. I mean, I applaud you, man. 26 years old. I mean, Jesus Christ, you're funding your own movies. And you said something so important, bro. You said, yo, you're not about to wait on the corner and say, please listen to my demo. Now, nothing wrong with it, but you realize that because you're younger, you're in the new change of things and you want to become an independent and you want to do your own thing. You just decided to say, fuck it, man.
It,
I'm just gonna
it
do it myself.
Yeah, it's horrible, and let me explain how that works for any
Okay.
local rappers watching, rappers that
Okay.
haven't made it out of their hometown. Please don't wait for Jay-Z to come through so you could chase him down with a
Right.
mixtape. You will
Right.
not get close to him. His bodyguards will stop you, and even if you
Right.
could get him a mixtape, people really fall into the I want to say blue pill relating to music right now. I want to say people
Mm.
fall into the fantasy of thinking, well, Jay-Z's from the hood just like me, so he remembers what it's like.
No,
Not
bro.
no more. He is
He
a
moved out
billionaire
the
now.
hood. Right.
But let me explain one thing that's
Right.
very, very crucial.
Let's go.
People that want to get discovered, they think that their favorite artist or their favorite filmmaker might see the same vision in them. But what they don't understand is if you haven't made it anywhere yet, people in the industry had to work so hard to get to where they're at that they look at you like, well, if you're so goddamn good, how come there's not some pre-selection just like with women with your script? How come there weren't people already beating down the door to try to get one of your movies made? That's how they look at it. So, yo, I write, direct, I do my own stunts just like Sylvester Stallone. If I told him that, I bet you damn well Stallone would be thinking to himself, well, how come
Well,
no one's
good.
ever
Keep
heard
it
of
up.
you?
Right. Keep it up. Right.
Well, but
Right.
yeah, but he'd be thinking like, yeah, keep going with that. Why hasn't
Yeah.
anybody ever heard of you?
Bro, Kevin Savo, you just hit me in the head.
Pre-selection.
Bro, you know what's crazy? Like for me, for instance, right? Boom, I'm older. And you're right. It's like, yeah, you got a decent mic, you got a decent backdrop, and you got some game AV, but yo, that's cool, man. Keep up the good work, my G. Nobody's gonna invite you at that table, nobody's gonna invite you at that podcast. And I had to learn that the hard way. So, like for me, it's like, even though I'm older, I kind of forgot. Like, you know what I mean? They're going like, oh, he's got game too. Come on, bro. No, bro. You got to put in the fucking work. And this is an important segue into what we talk about masculinity and doing shit for yourself because nobody's going to come in and hug you. And I like what you said about the segue, about the blue pill, because everyone's delusional. Like, it's crazy.
People don't realize that pre-selection is applied to everything, not just
Everything.
women. It's
Right.
applied to everything. So if your YouTube views don't even look that good, there's a hesitancy to click on a YouTube video because why isn't
Facts.
everybody else watching? Nobody wants to go to the restaurant that nobody's talking about. The
Right.
same way a woman don't want to sleep with a man that other women don't want to sleep with. So you got to remember that if you're a struggling artist, I feel you, but do the work yourself. Fuck the industry because the industry will be
Facts.
wondering why you weren't already pre-selected. They won't say like, damn, he lives in a flop house and could barely afford his rent, but his script is so good. I mean, no one talks about it. Nobody knows
Sure.
about him, but it's so
Sure.
good. Now
Right.
they ask why aren't people already talking about it?
Yo, Kevin, man, that's man, you really we should just shut the show off right now. So you just hitting these dudes on the head. So Kevin, let me ask you this, bro. I got a couple questions for you, and I definitely want to talk about your YouTube series, Save a Hoe, man, because I really thoroughly enjoyed that shit. But let me ask you a couple of questions first for my audience. So, you know, you have a lot of wisdom for a 26-year-old man. I mean, because again, I'm 48. And the old geezers, like the dinosaurs in my era, we kind of frown on you young dudes. Not because we're jealous, but because a lot of young dudes don't have the mentality that you have. So I'm looking at these dudes like, bro, go play in traffic. You crazy. You have a lot of things. Why? What do you think men are struggling? What let me ask you this. What do you think men struggle with the most today, in your view?
It's so hard to say because it's a multitude of issues. And sometimes when people attack the red pill, what I want to say is, why don't you take that issue by issue, argument by argument at a
Right,
time, instead of categorizing all of it?
right.
But it's a very difficult thing. I wonder how most of the OGs in the red pill would answer that. I wonder if they would like have one answer or if they would say, well, like it's a plethora of things. But I guess if you had to boil it down, you know, I hated it when I heard it from older cats for the longest time, but it's true. We're the entitled generation. We're the entitled generation, and the way it's been explained to me is the generation, my parents' generation, they ain't have shit from
Right.
their parents. So
Right.
then when they got shit, they wanted to give it to us, and they were like, "Let me make my kids' life as easy as possible." I didn't necessarily have a easy life, but I wasn't exactly stripped of the shit that I needed. I got help from my family when I needed
Sure,
to.
sure.
So yeah, kids my age become the entitled generation that just feel like they deserve something. And I remember having
Right.
to break out of that when I attempted my first feature film that fell apart. I actually remember. So I attempted my first feature film at 19, turning 20.
Wow.
And I actually still remember I felt entitled to a budget. I felt entitled to, like, people should want to help me because I have an idea, I have a dream. And when all that changed for me is when I got down on my luck, broke, staying with my cousin, staying with a relative. And I
Right.
believe this is when I became a man. I remember he said, if you're going to stay with me, you don't have to pay rent, but you got to do one thing. You got to bring free pizza home, because I worked at a pizzeria at the time.
Right.
And I
Right.
slipped up and forgot to bring a pizza home. And he was drunk and he snapped at me. He's like, I asked you to do one fucking thing. And I'm like, damn, man, it's just a pizza. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Facts.
And instantly I felt the need to defend myself. Hey, I'm a good guy. I'm hardworking. I'm just in a
Nobody
tough spot in
cares.
life. And yeah, he looked at me and he goes, Kev, he interrupted me. He goes, I just want you to know, I do not give a living fuck about your
Facts.
struggles. I don't care. And the instinct in my entitled generation ass is to say, nah, Christ, he don't give me an ability to
Right.
plead my case.
Right.
But suddenly Chris Rock just started cycling through my head. And he cycled through my head for the rest of the night. And it was him telling his daughters, once you leave this house, don't nobody give a fuck about you. And for the first time ever, the idea of nobody giving a fuck about me became empowering. That was the first time it ever became empowering, because I realized where the answer was. It was in myself.
Let's go. Oh, guys, this is yo, make sure you guys follow his main YouTube channel, and all his handles are going to be in the description of the video. Savo Central, the Adventures of Savo. That's very important what you said, because it is empowering. And like I said, man, you're 26 years old, and like what you asked me, you said, I wonder what the OGs would say. A lot of the OGs in the space, they just think that you guys are weak. You guys are, you guys are entitled. And I think, for me, I agree with a lot of shit that they say, but that's not gonna help the younger guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, being an OG, like shitting on the younger people, it's not really gonna help them. But if the younger people are not willing to hear or listen to a goddamn OG's perspective, you're fucked. So I always say the teacher will appear when the student is ready. And a lot of these young dudes and younger people in general, they just feel like they know it all. And this is why a big portion of the red pill, I guess, is like they talk about, they talk about women and all the shit and all the things that's going to happen to them when they're post-war, 30, 40. And we kind of know, but because you're wiser and older above your years, I think you got a good shot to be, I guess, the voice, quote unquote, the face of younger people, man, because people are more likely to listen to you being in their age bracket than an older guy like me, because I'm a fucking dinosaur.
Yeah, but if you
And
listen to OGs, you get an OG outcome. You
for
want to
sure.
you want a young minded outcome, because I'll give you one beef. I don't talk about this often, but I'll give you a brief story of things that I learned from hanging out with Positive K.
Okay.
Positive K taught me, and local rappers, because everybody wants to be a rapper these days. So I'm sure
Right.
I'm sure there's SoundCloud rappers listening. This is
Right.
the advice you get from an OG as versus what you get from a kid. Positive K would come out with a song. He dropped a song with MC Light. It's the sequel to I'm Not Having It. It's
Right.
called I'm Still Not Having It.
Nice.
And Positive K made that with MC Light in 2010. He dropped it in 2019. I said, Pos, why'd you wait so long to drop that? And he goes, time just didn't feel right. I'm like, it didn't feel right for 10 years. And he goes, well, you got to understand, coming up, we would make a record and we couldn't get the radio to play it for 3 years. So it became second nature to sit on a song and be comfortable sitting on a song. So
Right.
while you young cats, taking advice from other young cats, you make a song and it has to be out by tonight because you just mixed it.
Right.
How's that working out for you? Whereas that, I took that advice from Positive K. I made a concept for a song called Thot Mommies. I sat on it for 5 years because it just wasn't right. For 5 years, and we redid it and remixed it and rewrote it and rewrote the concept. Now, I'm not a famous rapper. However, if you drop the song the day you made it, you might have 100 views. Thot Mommies has 35 views on the Fellas channel, 55 views on Rolo Tomasi's channel, 200,000 views on Facebook. So we're
Let's
doing
go.
okay. We're doing okay. At least
Right.
it got seen. And that's my mission and where I'm at right now, is to get my shit seen and
Sure.
heard instead of just making it for no reason. Then we could go from there and try to see if we can expand.
Man, that's so awesome that you did listen to that, because it's all about timing. And listening to an OG benefited you, man. And that shows a lot of confidence in your material. Because a lot of guys would have sat on some shit and be like, man, let's just scrap it and let's do something else. But you actually believed in your song, and it was the timing. Because if you would have released it 3 years ago, maybe you wouldn't have gotten the attention, perhaps, of the people that you got attention to now. That kind of brought you here. You never know, man. So everything happens for a reason. So let me ask you this, man. So what about women? What do you think women, from your perspective, from a younger man's perspective, what are they struggling with today?
Okay, the biggest thing I think women are struggling with is wanting their cake and eat it too. That's what I think for the most part. I think women want to be they want to be non-traditional, but they still believe in the romantic nature of fantasy. So they want to have both. It's a woman's dream to be able to get married, have kids, have a life, have a partner that's stable and have a situation that's stable. But they're caught between the conflict of what's safe and what's exciting, and I believe that most young women are unwilling to choose. And I
Oh,
think, yeah, so it boils down an adult decision versus being
right.
kind of like being young-minded. And
Mm,
my only advice is not to tell women to change and get in line and do what
sure.
we say on YouTube. That's not my advice. My
Right.
advice is be all in with the hands you chose. So if you choose excitement, stay single, have a rotation of men if you'd like, because
Sure.
then at least you can't complain that you got dicked over. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you want to be mature and you want to pick a safe partner, you're going to have to deal with the fact that that man is more than likely not going to be the most exciting, endorphin raising person to be with, but you sacrifice excitement for stability
Mm.
so that a man does not ruin your life. Because aside from everything that we say in this fear sounding harsh, I'm remotely sympathetic, even though sometimes it's of their own choosing, seeing a woman, and a young woman at that, let a man
Bro.
ruin their fucking life because they just had to have the mysterious cat, and then some mysterious shit happens.
Facts, man. You said a lot, man. Very important what you said about it's all about making an adult decision. And I think a lot of women, they suffer from the Peter Pan syndrome. And I like what you said too. It's all about being accountable. And we always talk about it. Women are not accountable. And I think men kind of follow suit because they don't want to be accountable too, because it may be partly because of that entitlement mentality. But if women were more accountable, I think that they would be happier choosing to be the route who they want to be. If I want to be a hoe, I want to be a hoe. Now, the broads today, Kevin, they prancing around like they want to be a hoe, but they're not really proud of it inside because their actions contradict that shit. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, it's all about sacrificing. Sometimes you may get the stability, but he may not be the flyest dude. He ain't got the best body. He's not as exciting, but you have to pick your poison, bro.
Well, the advice that I would give to girls, or maybe like a daughter or a sister, is that you have to have the right kind of personality for hoeing. And I know that sounds funny, but I know that sounds funny, but let's say right now, I'm seeing a girl who really, she's, for lack of a better term, she's masculine. She has a masculine attitude towards sex. Not masculine in the way that she presses me, but she kind of moves like a man
Yeah,
in
yeah,
terms of
yeah,
sex.
yeah.
And we talked about sex, and she's quite comfortable hopping from dude to dude because she's like, I'm just having my sexual experiences. And
Sure.
I think looking at it almost from like a male lens, maybe it's not natural. Maybe she had to train herself to do it, but
Right.
she's cool. Now,
Right.
a very feminine woman is tricking herself into thinking that she's okay with being promiscuous. And my
Mm.
firsthand knowledge of that came from talking to the women in my life. It came from laying in bed with a chick that I'm with and letting her open up, me not saying a word. I ain't turned it into a fresh and fit episode. I just
Right,
sat back
right,
and
right.
I
Just
just sat
listen.
back and
Right,
listened.
right.
And what 3 to 4 women I've been involved with in my life have expressed to me is that being promiscuous has left them feeling regretful, used, and has stirred them up inside, and they don't feel good about it.
Right.
And so I don't then take that knowledge and then start like slut shaming and saying crazy shit. But I took that as, and again, didn't criticize, didn't scrutinize. I just listened, and I kind of tried to formulate why that is. And I think what it is maybe partially what oh God, what's his fucking name? Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate made a really good point that a woman's biology is not, it doesn't equal to hoeing, because when a woman sleeps with a man, subconsciously she thinks that she's going to be impregnated by him. So subconsciously there's a need to have him stick around. So if he fucks you and leaves, it's psychologically confusing.
Shout out to Andrew Tate. You already know. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So
Go ahead.
I definitely agree with that. I also think there's something about letting a bunch of losers use you. So sometimes I don't even think it's that bad if a woman has a high body count, as long as they were all of a certain value. Because if they were all
Mm.
losers, you shared something very intimate with a bunch of fuckheads.
Bro, let's go, Kevin Savo. All right, so check this. I like what you said, bro, and I think this is something that this is a teachable moment for you guys. You notice what Kevin said. He says that to me, from what I gathered having this conversation, you seem very analytical, and you utilize the data that you are receiving from women and kind of formulate an understanding. And I think that's the best thing to do when you're dealing with people in general, understanding who you're fucking dealing with. And the most important thing that I gathered from what you said is it comes from a non-judgmental place. I'm not here to judge you, broad. I'm not here to change you. If you're going to be with me, then there's going to be some parameters you got to follow. But we're not going to slut shame you. We're just trying to understand what you're doing. And if you want to be with us, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is a possible consequence for your actions. But, not judging women, I think is very important because a lot of women want to feel safe and they want to feel like they can communicate and be themselves. And the more they talk, the more you'll realize whether this person is the right one or is this somebody that you should focus on or just ditch.
Yeah, I became curious about how promiscuity affected the girls that in my life because I had two girls that both had a complete inability to orgasm. Now, some of y'all might be like, "Well, that's your fault." Okay, but like you fuck for
No,
an
it's not.
hour and you fuck for an hour and a half, and it still can't get the
Yeah.
job done. I'm like something's up psychologically, and I proved that theory to myself by having one girl. I cut out like the other girls in my life and stuck with one for a minute, and I told her I loved her. And then she was able to orgasm because her competition anxiety, it fueled her, but it did not allow her to orgasm. And then
To be comfortable, right?
Then I went back to seeing other women, pulled away a little bit, and she went back to not being able to orgasm.
Wow.
Then the other one, forget about it, dude. I just had to get one of those giant vibrators that go like
jackhammer.
I just had to, and we took care of that too.
Right, nice. So let me ask you this then. So like I said, man, you're spitting a lot of facts, man, and this is pretty cool because it's two different guys just chopping it up. We kind of, we don't really know about the red pill shit, but we're kind of diving into it. So we always talk about vetting women, right? So what do you think, in your opinion, Kevin, that what should men be looking for while vetting a woman for a spot on their team, whether it's a rotation or their main chick? What do you think? What do you think guys should look for from your perspective?
Okay, well, here's where I'm going to admit that like there's a young side of my mind that
Oh,
just
good.
does shit the wrong way because
Sure.
I've admitted on the six and shit that I manage my rotations horribly. That's the part of me that is still
awesome. This is awesome. Go ahead.
Well, that's the part of me that's still like a kid because I've
Sure.
had two rotation girls show up at the same time and fight and shit in my mother's house, and then my mother took their side and she's like, "This is because you're a fucking red pill misogynist fuck," and then I'm like dealing with all three of them. I've dealt with all of it.
Sure.
So I've been stalked. I've had girls pull up at the house and fight. I've had the whole
Bro,
fucking shit.
no doubt.
So I think what I learned from that is for rotation, just look at, okay, I don't care how exciting she is. If she's exciting because she's also crazy, protect your home. So I'm going to say protect your home. If you got to, go fuck in a hotel, go fuck at her place.
Facts.
That's something it took me a long time to learn as a man. We don't protect ourselves because we see women as being harmless, but don't be so quick to show her where the fuck you live because she will pull up and you will have no peace. It's like the police.
Bro, go ahead. Keep going. You spitting game right now, bro. I can relate. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I learned that you need to be responsible with a rotation. A woman will ruin your life just as easily as a toxic man can ruin a woman's life. And you have to protect your neck. You got to remember that. When vetting for a relationship, I have a very different opinion. I believe if you're going to settle down and have a relationship, okay, this might sound like some young-minded shit, but in my mind, I wouldn't marry a woman unless she was so fucking boring she wasn't even fun. Because I'm like, that's the one that's not going to fuck up my life.
Yeah. Let's go.
And that's pretty obvious, right? She works at the library and all she does is read and she barely has a personality. She will fuck you, but it's not going to be fun sex. But, at least it's sex and she's going to help you with shit around the house and your fun time in life is over. I'm not willing to give that up yet, which is why I still do the rotation shit. But
sure.
at least unlike the girls, I'm not out here hoeing and then also complaining, why can't I find a good woman? I know exactly what I'm doing because this is the time in my life for it. I'm 26.
Bro, I love it, man. Yo, you spitting game. You ready for Hollywood, big bro? You ready for Hollywood? Trust me.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the CME last week in May. Come see us in
Let's go.
Miami.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that for sure. We're gonna talk about that in a minute, bro. So let me ask you this then. Boom. All right. So now you said, okay, what you're giving guys advice, and I like the fact that it's not even you're being authentic, even though you're a younger man, you're wise in certain areas. There's other things that's going to help you become wise in the mistakes that you make that turn into lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about body count, bro. Now, because this is a big thing that goes around. Body count doesn't matter. It does fucking matter. What's your take on it? Body count, should it matter? Why or why not?
For a woman or for a man?
Nah, fuck that. Women, you're women.
For women. Uh,
In your view, keep it real.
okay. Here's the thing with body count. The thing with body count, and I learned this through Rollo Tomasi because it took me such a long time to understand this. Girls, keep your body count private. Don't tell nobody. This conversation needs to stop coming up
Facts.
because and that is such like fucking elite level game or not elite. It's just obvious game, but it's so
Right,
effective.
right,
I swear to Christ. Imagine this, girls. Imagine this. If you don't tell a man about your sexual past and you've done a ton of horrific shit in your sexual past that would turn him off, if he
right,
doesn't know, you get to paint whatever picture for him you want to paint. The main thing about a girl that has a high body count that's disturbing does not have as much to do with being an insecure guy that can't handle it as much as it has to do with when I find a girl that I really like for a small moment of time, I feel lucky to have her. When I
right,
find out everybody in the city fucked her, now I don't feel special to have her. Now I feel like I'm just the
right.
next now I feel like I'm just the next one up. So I've struggled with girls that like I've really liked and were really sexy and the sex was a lot of fun and we became close who felt way too comfortable telling about all these sexual experiences. And by the end of it, she don't understand that she made me feel like anybody can have her. Anybody can fuck you. Anybody can have access to you. So I'm just the next dude in line. Like nothing about this is remotely special when the woman certainly wants every fucking romantic experience to feel special.
Sure.
I'd like something to feel remotely like it's
Special.
like it's specific to me.
Right.
Um, and it's not. And I've had to school a couple of girls on that. And I told them, you won't hear this from your girlfriends or from your mom. And the internet will tell you that I'm just insecure. And it's like, no, it's not necessarily that I'm
Nah.
insecure, but now this doesn't feel like any of this is specific to me. Feels like I'm the next dude up. And then also you kind of worry about, walking around town with a girl on your arm that's like fucking dudes are gonna walk past you and be like, dog, remember when
Haha.
when we ran a train on her and you're like, yeah, that's I took
Bro.
over now.
Yo,
It's
yeah,
horrible.
Miami's crazy, but yeah, that's an excellent point, and I think you said something very important. Shout out to Rollo Tomasi. You said, ladies, yes, I know you guys want to be like men. I know you're trying to, be masculine and all that shit, but keep your body count to yourself. Number two, guys, don't ask abroad her body count because more than likely she's not gonna fucking tell you anyway. Now, I always tell my guys, Kevin, trust your eyes, not your ears. Pay attention to the broad, how she behaves. But even if the broad's a ninja, she could do whatever she wants. She could finesse your ass. You'll never fucking know what she's doing. At the end of the day, if the woman is cooperating with you, you've given her some tasks to do, and she's really campaigning, I guess, for to be with you, then she gets to stick around. But don't try not to judge a broad on her performance in sex, because sometimes that'll throw dude off and be like, "Yo, this broad is too good. She know what she's doing. She's doing a lot of tricks." But at the end of the day, man, women have to kind of preserve it. And this day and age, Kevin, man, sex is so easy right now. Um, there's not much that you can do about it, but just maybe look at all the other factors that kind of make the woman want to be with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, to be honest, and where I'm at in my life at this age, I don't care what a woman does as soon as she leaves my bed. I don't care who she's with. I don't care who she's talking to. I really don't mind.
You're
But for some,
focused.
yeah, but for some reason, if I'm to cut off the other girls and enter a relationship with just one, now everything that she does bothers me. Now
Yeah, this
everything
is some
gets to
real
me.
shit.
And
Right.
so I'm just managing that by either understanding like to play devil's advocate, maybe I just ain't ready, maybe I just ain't grown enough, or to play red pill advocate, I can't deal with hoe shit in an
Right.
exclusive relationship because now it's a threat to my mental state. It's like if I'm
Right.
committed to a person and if I take her serious like she wants me to, now that's going to impact like my day to day if I have to worry that every time she fucking leaves the house, she's going to do some hoe shit.
You talking real shit, bro. Like you spitting some real shit. You bringing me back and shit, bro. And not to say Jesus Christ at 48 years old. It's not like I don't still deal with those things, but I've this is good because it's like you're speaking to from a somewhat of a quote unquote vulnerable place because of your youth, right? But at the same time, you have a very practical and mature look on it, and it's like you focus, bro. Listen, I'm because it's all about protecting your mental state, which is extremely important. So let me ask you this: can you do what's your take on turning a hoe into a housewife? Then
I mean, obviously, like, save a hoe is just a play on
So we going with it. Let's go. Let's go.
it's just a, it's just a play on words. Actually trying to turn a hoe into a housewife. I don't know if I want to say it's impossible because I know women do tire themselves out from their promiscuous life. And there comes a time where it's like, okay, we've done racked up like 180 bodies and now I'm tired of the way it makes me
Right, right.
feel and I'm getting older and now I'd like to settle down. And sometimes I think that a girl, this is one I'm not completely certain on. Sometimes I think a girl really does tire herself out from fucking around, and she's
For
like,
sure.
I've seen everything there is to see. I've done everything there is to do, and I think sometimes this day and age it is a little bit later in life,
Sure.
and I think sometimes it's legit when they're like, now I just want to settle down.
Right.
However, the track record makes you question because the only thing it's wrong to judge somebody on is their sexual past, apparently, because we judge
Right.
people on their criminal record. We do background
Sure.
checks we do background checks. We do credit checks. That's
Mhm.
for a reason. I can't say like, yo, I have fucking, I don't know, like I have fucking horrible credit, but like,
Right.
that's not the man I am now. The
Sure.
man I am now would like to have good credit, and it's like,
Sure.
well, you don't, so you can't get you can't get this house.
Right.
And I know people can change, and I know people, like clean up after a life of doing
Sure.
drugs and clean up after a life of
For sure.
crime.
Mhm.
But you do tend to be concerned with that. That did a woman's promiscuous life make it so easy to her? Did it make it second nature to run around, cheat, seek validation from men whenever things are wrong, whenever there's an argument in
Right.
the relationship or something, as opposed to like, nah, I'm committed to the relationship life now and we're going to stick it out? Does she act out in ways that are going to be a threat to your
Mm.
relationship? Can she handle
Right.
controversy without reverting back to what she always did when she was
Right.
down and out? That
Right.
that's the question. And I guess my answer is I do believe it's possible
Sure.
for a girl to really, really get tired out from
Right.
hoeing and be like, nah, now I want to be a housewife. I believe it's possible. I
Sure.
don't know how likely it is, and I don't know how
Right.
much you should trust it though. I don't know.
Excellent. Excellent answer, man. Because like you said, everybody deserves a second chance. That's fine, but that's a journey you have to take on your own. And I always say, man, anything is possible. You're absolutely right. But why would you want to turn a hoe into a housewife, right? With the abundance, quote unquote, mindset. Now, if you really love the broad and you had a slip up, you got a kid with her, then maybe there's some, some some factors that you can take into consideration. But yeah, anything is possible if you put the work in. But sometimes, unfortunately, guys, even though you have redeemed yourself and you went to church and shit and you got out of jail, sometimes your past follows you, bro, and haunts you. And
Sometimes people relapse.
right, you know what I mean? So you
Mhm.
guys got to take it with a grain of salt, man. But everybody deserves a chance, but it's up to you to decide whether you want to give that person a chance. So perfect segue. Kevin, please talk to us about your YouTube series, man. It's Captain Savo. Yo, I thoroughly enjoyed this series, man. The Adventures of Savo. Can you give my audience a brief? And we're gonna get into a clip. I got a clip of it as well. Tell us about it, man. How'd you come up with the idea, and where is it going?
It's a long story. My last name is Savo, and you
Okay,
pronounce it like that, like SaveAHoe. So since I was in high school, people were calling me Captain SaveAHoe, and I
correct.
had no clue what it meant. I mean, I knew what the analogy meant, trying to take a low value
Sure,
woman and turn her into a housewife and save her from a promiscuous life. I understood that much. But the really funny thing, you got time for a long story?
sure, of course.
The really funny thing is it goes to show you how out of touch we are with hip hop terminology and
Let's
how
go.
much hip hop creates terminology.
Mhm.
So basically, Rollo Tomasi created a world of red pill terminology.
Right,
So
glossary.
many,
Right,
so a
right,
glossary, exactly. So
right.
many people use it and don't even know where it came from, right? And personally, I tell Rollo all the time, don't feel bad for that. You literally created a culture. It'd be nice to get
Facts.
credit. It'd be nice to get credit everywhere it's used, but
Right.
sometimes people don't even know you've literally created a new language, a new glossary.
Mhm.
Well, hip hop does the same thing because I'm in high school getting made fun of for listening to Rappin' Forte and Warren G
Sure.
because I'm in high school, I'm 16, and nobody knows who Rappin' Forte and Warren G is. Fine,
Right,
cool.
right.
Bay Area, West Coast rappers, fine.
Mhm.
Simultaneously, the same kids making fun of me for listening to Warren G and Rappin' Forte are calling me Captain SaveAHoe, which none of us knew at the time came from E40. I didn't even know that at the time that I made the show because I was just never a big E40 guy. I like all the other
Sure.
Bay Area guys. I
Right,
like Rappin' Forte and Too
right.
Short and
Shout out to
eight.
the Bay. Go ahead.
Yeah, and 8 Ball and all them, but I was just never a big E40 guy. I know he's got a unique flow, but it was never my thing.
Right.
So when I made the show, I thought I was just making a literal interpretation of a catchphrase, Captain SaveAHoe. And I was like,
Right, right.
what if Captain SaveAHoe was a legitimate crime fighting investigator vigilante that actually literally saves hoes from danger. And the villain's a pimp, and he's this simp beta male warrior that's actually dedicated to this. Now, the vibe of the show, because I wanted to do this ever since I was a kid. Because the first time anybody said to me, Captain SaveAHoe, I was like, that's a character, but how do I picture this? Is he a superhero? Is he like Tarzan swinging down from a vine and saving a hoe from imminent danger?
Right.
And then it hit me, the 70s black exploitation flicks, Dolomite, I'ma Get You Sucker. That has the perfect vibe, because like those were the first movies where you were even allowed to say bitch and hoe like that.
Oh, right. Good.
Exactly. So I took 3 years to make my movie with Positive K, and it was a serious drama. And even though it was made cheaply and it's not perfect technically, sounds a little shot in certain areas, there could have been more coverage in certain areas. It's pretty damn good for one dude making it.
Absolutely.
Compared to a movie with a budget, it's trash. In the perspective of one dude made this, it's a fucking masterpiece, because I made it literally just one dude and a couple of friends helping out. So that took 3 years, and most people didn't even think I was going to finish it. But
Awesome.
you know, we fought through it and we did it. Now the movie is wrapped and we're getting ready to premiere it, and I'm like, I still want to create. I still want to do it. I still want to do something. And I thought, what is the cheapest thing I can do that can be purposely cheap, but still play well and still have good performances? So it could be made cheaply, but still be fun.
Right.
And then it hit me when I was struggling to finish my movie, because it took 3 years. There were so many times where I doubted myself. Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to keep everybody involved? Half the people aren't being paid. How am I ever going to finish this thing? And I would watch Rudy Ray Moore movies for inspiration, because people tell me like, you could do a Savo, like look at Sylvester Stallone. I'm like, that's not exactly the perfect comparison.
Right.
Because he had to struggle to get the script of Rocky made, but once he did, he still got to make $1 million movie. Okay, that's not a lot of money in the movie world, but it was a little short of $900,000. Okay, I would come in my pants if someone gave me $900,000 to do a movie.
Right.
So I related a little bit more to Rudy Ray Moore, and the fact that everybody told him no, and everybody told him you're not cut out for the industry, because at that time they were like, you're too dirty. You make products that you can't even sell.
Right.
And he said, fuck all that. We're going to do it ourselves. And because of that, not really knowing how to make films, Dolomite was both as edgy as it could be, because he didn't have to operate within the confines of the studio and shit like
HR and shit, right?
Yeah, exactly. But then also the movies were terribly put together. There was like boom mics in the shot, and it wasn't paced properly. And Rudy Ray Moore had no clue what he was doing. He was just like, Wooded Brothers, like titties, kung fu, wildin', like, and he just did that.
Right.
But the reason we celebrate Dolomite all these years later, and even the reason we celebrate like the white Dolomite, which is Ed Wood, the worst white filmmaker of all time, is the spirit of fuck the industry. We're going to do it ourselves. And wouldn't you know it, because at that time, Black people didn't feel like there were movies that spoke to them, even though it was horribly put together. They were like, fuck this. And it blew up and it became huge. And I related more to that. So I'm like, oh, this is what SaveAHoe is going to be.
That's the vibe.
Yeah. It's a long story, but
no, this is awesome. So I got a clip, and then you know you have some cameos and some guest appearances from two guys that I'm sure everybody's gonna. But let me roll the clip real quick. This is a clip that I love. First of all, man, let me say this, bro. Kudos, flowers to you, bro, because this shit was dope, man, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm like, yo, when's the next episode coming up? All right, let's play the clip. Hold up.
What happened to your face?
Buffalo Ranger. You hear me?
I was saving a hoe from a kidnapping downtown.
Don't you think it's time you stop saving hoes?
Whoa. Hold up just a fucking minute. This is my life we're talking about. I mean, this is what I do. Come on, then, you're telling me not to save hoes. Need I remind you about all the hoes I couldn't save?
Crazy. All right, bitch. That's it. Let's go. Get the fuck out. You know he's sensitive about that bullshit.
Hello?
So who's the hoe now?
Who the fuck is this?
You know what this is. This is Chocolate Daddy.
Yeah, I got somebody that would like to talk to you.
Boss, they got me jacked up. I don't know where they got me jacked up.
Bro. That was awesome. That was one of the funniest parts for me, because yo, that shit reminds me of my boys too, because it's like, yeah, bitch, you gotta go. But we look at, even though I'm checking the bitch, I'm looking at you like, bro, tighten up. You know what I'm saying? That shit was awesome, man. Yo.
Yeah, exactly. I have the greatest cast in the world. These are all just people I know. They're all just friends. And then
Awesome.
where the red pill cameos came in as an idea was just an accident. So my approach to red pill themed content is red pill undertones.
Sure.
And the most red pill cinema you will ever see, it's out there. People think there's not red pill movies, but the reason they don't perceive it as red pill is because they don't come right out and say, hey, it's a red pill movie and how the fuck do you like that? It's in undertones. You have to watch it and then it's subjective. So then no one can be criticized. They just say, well, how do you take it? Do you feel like the man was at fault? Do you feel like the woman was at fault? Do you feel like it was a man's story? Do you feel like this is speak to young men? It's all left up to interpretation. But SaveAHoe happened by accident where I'm just laying up in bed one night and I'm thinking like, what if we got Rollo Tomasi to be a villain? Because if I'm a simp beta male warrior, then maybe the villains could be red pill. And there's a scene with Rollo Tomasi where I was like, oh, I know exactly how I'm going to write Rollo if he does
at
this.
the bar. Yeah,
he's going to, instead of like, doing what he does on his show, is going to be a metaphor. So the metaphor is he kind of is the first character to say to me, just to like put the doubt in my head in all the midst of everything going on, to say like, you think if you were in trouble that like any of these girls would ever you think they would save you? And then he puts a gun to me and he's like, let's test it out. He looks to the only girl in the room,
the bar, right?
Yeah, and he's like, you gonna save him? And she's too shook to do anything. He's like, you see that?
Bro, talk to it. Let everybody know who else is in it. Episode 3. Who else is in it?
Episode 3 is Donovan Sharp. When Rollo Tomasi came on board, he became my executive producer, and that was his decision to put Donovan in, and he couldn't have found a better fit, because actually what most people don't know is we went through so many different people that were going to play that role, and some plans were made that just got straight canceled, as opposed to like ideas. So I kind of wrote that part in mind. I can't tell you why, but I wrote that part with like Coach Greg Adams in mind. I just kind of like figured I'd want the character to have that vibe, like a sarcastic, authoritative vibe. Before I got involved with Rollo and everybody, I reached out to Coach Greg on everything I could think of, and just like, he's impossible to get a hold of.
He says that publicly. He's hard to get a hold of him. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. But so then I end up with, it was gonna be Darius MGTOW, the channel where he shows all the TikToks of girls airing out their own shit and then he speaks on it. And he was pretty enthusiastic about it, but schedules just didn't add up.
Sure.
Then it was gonna be, I'm Tyrone and I came here to fuck your wife. It was gonna be Tyrone, but Tyrone's management scared the shit out of me. Tyrone's management just scared the living shit out of me. And there was like a huge possibility. I was thinking that like he might show up and be like, what is this fucking, what is this? Like small ass set. Like it's not a real movie set.
Right.
And the funny thing is I couldn't communicate with him. I was only dealing with his managers. And then the really funny thing is I was like, yo, where did I get the idea that Tyrone might be like a fun guy to work with? He made a career rolling up on people and smacking shit out of their hands. So I was like, fuck it, I'm too intimidated to use him. But he was actually already paid and ready to come out, and we were just scrapped it. Like, no. And I was telling Rollo, I'm like, I don't know who to get to replace Tyrone. And he was like, Donovan. I'm telling you, Donovan's the guy. And Donovan fucking killed it.
Bro, first of all, Donovan, he's a big guy. And his voice, right? So his voice doesn't necessarily match his appearance. So when I heard Donovan, his sarcasm is perfect. I love to hear Donovan break down videos and shit, like commentary, like Temptation Island and all that shit he does. And Donovan reminds me of the guy like from Beverly Hills Cop. You're not gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe. But Donovan's gangster. Like Donovan's like, he sounds a certain way, but Donovan's like, yo, listen, bro. Like Donovan's that thorough dude. So when he was in there and he was just making fun of everybody when you guys are doing the files, I think that was awesome, man.
Yeah, Donovan, the first time I saw him, I thought he might sound like you, so I wrote a different part. And then when I heard his voice, because I write for people's language, I try to absorb their language and their rhythm.
Right.
And then I knew where to stick him. But yeah, yo, Donovan, that's the funniest thing. Donovan's got that voice, but he's like legitimately dangerous. Donovan will fucking fuck you up. Like,
I see. I know. I recognize. I see. I'm like, all right, I see this dude. Yeah, like he'll snap on you and shit. So you gotta be, you gotta be careful.
Well, no, but that's the funniest thing is he's one of those guys. He's one of those personality types. He is the friendliest dude in the world. And sometimes I think like those folks are the most dangerous because they don't need to walk around like, I'll fuck your shit up. It's like, hey, I'm happy to be here. And if you much stress me, I will fuck your shit up.
I'll smack the shit out of you. Yeah, real shit. Yeah, that's real shit. That's awesome, man. Yeah, guys, please make sure you guys check it out, man. The Adventures of SaveAHoe. Like I said, it's gonna be in the description of the video as well, man. He's got 3 episodes out, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's awesome. So let me ask you this. We got a couple more questions before we get up out of here. So let me ask you this, man. You said it earlier. The red pill's like slang. What's your thoughts on labels, bro? Specifically the red pill and shit. You know, you got alpha, quote unquote, you got MGTOW and shit. Now, slang for me, you know, I always say this shit. I'm like, yo, the only label you should be worried about is being called a man. Now, a lot of dudes be like, yo, but your company, your brand is called Alpha Villains. I say, yeah, no doubt for context. But if a dude got to call himself Alpha, a dude got to call himself Red Pill, that's just basically the way I interpret it, Kevin, is that they're just providing context clues for people to understand what they're saying. I don't think people go out and say, yeah, I'm Red Pill. Some dorks do. But what's your take on the labels, man? Are they getting too overly used? What's your take on it?
Yeah, we live in a label world, and we live in a world now where everybody wants that label. They want that gang to be a part of. And it's like, if you ain't man enough to be a part of a legitimate gang, you want to be a part of like a thought group gang. You know, so it's like Chris Rock say, Republicans are gangs and the conservatives are gangs.
Right.
Like, you know, that's the world everybody wants to be in. I can't believe so many people want to identify as something. I don't even want to be walking around like I'm Savo and I'm Red Pill.
Sure.
I'm Savo and I'm this and that. It is a slang term. That's why we have so much trouble with it, because it's just a slang term for knowing what's real versus knowing what's bullshit, or knowing when we're being lied to. It's that simple. Blue pill is just a slang term for you're drinking the Kool-Aid. You're buying the bullshit. And you can buy the bullshit of anything. And I tell people all the time, I've been red pilled my whole life, because before I applied it to women, I did a conspiracy show when I was like 18 with I forget who he was to Skilo. He wasn't Skilo's producer, but he's got a credit on Skilo's record. And he left the music business with his own like Illuminati-esque stories of the shit that went on. And we did a government conspiracy show called The Red Pill. So at that time, Red Pill made me think government conspiracy. Then somewhere in the middle, Red Pill meant like an open-minded politician. Politicians were using it. And now it's most commonly referred to as like knowing the truth about how women actually operate. So you know how to better deal with them. So that came naturally to me. But the problem with the desire to have a label is we're launching a Red Pill NFT, for example. With
yes, let's talk about that as well, please.
Yeah, we're launching a Red Pill NFT with Rollo Tomasi. So the people that helped us fund it, the people that are involved, my mother, you name it, just figured, let me Google Red Pill to see what this is about. And they're like, yo, you're promoting a hate cult against women?
Misogyny.
Yeah, I'm like, nah. But so when journalists want to like talk about what Red Pill is, it's like, it shouldn't even be a conversation. It shouldn't be like, what is Red Pill? Red Pill is a slang term. It's a slang term. It's not an ideology. Rollo says it's a praxeology, but I prefer to just say, yo, the shit that Red Pill cats talk about are common discussion. Common misunderstandings between, in some cases, liberals and conservatives. In some cases, it's just between men and women, as masculine versus feminine, and it's shit people been talking about forever. So I would say if you disagree, you can't take on like the Red Pill collection of conversations. Just if there's a conversation you disagree with, take that conversation piece head on. Don't take it all over the spectrum.
Fact. Yo, listen, I agree with you, bro. That's why, you know what I mean? I'm glad you said that, because I said this shit on my show the other day. And I tell my guys, so I say, listen, bro, you don't have to pick a side, like, because you know I'm green. I just started doing this shit, bro. Right. So I was scared to collaborate with certain people, because I didn't want to like disappoint the guys that I looked up to, quote unquote, or the guys that kind of co-signed me initially. And then they're like, yo, why are you talking to this MGTOW dude? Why are you talking to this Red Pill dude? And I'm like, yo, fuck it. At the end of the day, you can believe or think about what you want to think. I always talk to my guys and say, listen, free thinking. Even though that shit is hard for you guys to fucking make your own decisions, you guys can change your mind. You want to call it slang, you want to do whatever the fuck you want to do. As long as you're being masculine and true to yourself, bro, that's what I try to promote. But what you said is very important, because guys don't have to pick a side, man. It's a slang. If you have a problem with MGTOW, argue about the points about MGTOW. Don't categorize everybody else that's trying to make points and using the slang, because then it's like you're just dividing and conquering, and you look like a fucking hater.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I see that. You know what I mean? So
it's troubling.
Yeah. So I got 2 more questions, bro, and then we up out of here. So you, filmmaker, commentator, recording artist, give me your top 3 actors that influenced you and why.
Sylvester Stallone first and foremost.
I knew it.
Oh God, I gotta think about the other ones.
Take your
Actors.
time.
Stallone, I mean, you know, they do the easiest to relate to. I basically learned how to direct by watching him. What I
Nice.
learned from him is how to handle directors with sensitivity, so you don't take them out of the moment. Not sensitive like a bitch, but just the opposite of being like
Sure.
faster, better, slower.
Yeah.
Like when I pulled Donovan aside, like, and I'm directing him, we find the rhythm. I'm like, there's a rhythm in here. I wrote it
You
with the
MC because you were MC.
yeah.
That's why. Yeah.
Same shit with Positive K. Positive K never acted before he was on my movie, and I had to tell him, like, I had to use studio terminology. I'm like, this is like a punch in the studio, but it's like a visual punch. Like, and so he better understood it. God, that's tough for me because damn, I don't really watch a lot of movies these days. I have
bet.
I don't have time, but
Let me make it easy for you. All right, then.
Go ahead.
De Niro or Pacino?
Pesci.
Pesci. All right.
Pesci, yeah, I don't know. Let's say Stallone, Pesci. There's another guy I really love watching work. Honestly, you know who I love watching work? Here's something you didn't think you'd hear from a red pill cat. I love watching Lady Gaga work.
Yo,
all her feminism and all that shit aside, that girl can act her fucking dick off. Like,
bro, the one she did with Bradley Cooper was fucking awesome.
All of them. I just love watching her work, and I think she's like a
problem.
Yeah. She's like a female Stallone in a way that people like looking at her because she's not a traditionally beautiful woman, but when you see the way she attacks a role, it makes her sexier. But dude, that's her craft. I like that shit better than her bizarre music and all that shit.
Right.
She murks roles. So I won't say like she influenced me, but I love watching her
awesome.
watching her work, especially coming from a world of like bizarre music. You're gonna take on a craft and she actually dominates it. I like that.
So last question, man. So let everybody know where they can find you because you said that you're going to be speaking at the CME. Let everybody know when you're going to be there, what's next up for Kevin Savo, and where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, so we're all going to be live. The Red Pill Expendables, Rolo Tomasi, Donovan Sharp, Hotep Jesus, awesome. Lucario. I mean, the list goes on and on. I will be the least famous person there, but I'm honored to be there. That is going to be the last week of May. Go to Donovan Sharp's Instagram or go to Donovan Sharp's website. Go to Donovan Sharp's YouTube channel. Tickets are everywhere you can find them. They're pricey, but it's because it's a 4-day speaking event. So understand, don't be scared by the price. You're paying for 4 days of getting hit over the head with knowledge by like all the top guys. All in one.
And you're in Miami, Cigar Lounge. It's gonna be a party. Go ahead.
And you're Miami. Yeah, no, it is gonna be a party. It's gonna be excellent. So that's gonna be the last week of May. You go. Donovan's shit he's got it. It's in every description of every.
I'll put the links in the description as well.
Yeah, and, I'll be there. Come say hello.
Yeah,
what's next for me? I wrote a feature film after writing the opener that I'm kind of unwilling to do unless I could get real money for it. I can't make another movie on my own money, but I can partially make SaveAHoe on my own money, and Rolo helps out from time to time, and we have a possibility of making SaveAHoe better and better with each one. So right now, right now the main focus is another album. My kind of red pill-esque music, which is fun and gets people hyped and upset, which is what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And 2 more SaveAHoe episodes. We're gonna take it up more and more. And the next couple, I'm looking to make like the Red Pill Expendables. Like it's everybody you want to see. So
that's awesome. Man.
Listen,
man, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're good.
Nah, I was gonna tell the audience, man. Guys, make sure you check it out. He's got 3 episodes out, and every episode that comes out, it gets better and better. The visuals, the storyline, and it all flows, man. It's really enjoyable, man. I really enjoyed it, man. And like I said, man, I think, I appreciate you for coming on, man, because you have a lot of talent, and I think you can really be the voice for a lot of guys who are younger. And I always say, man, if you can listen to somebody that's doing it, you're being the proof. Like I always say, be the proof, bro, so you can show everybody what's going on. You can save a lot of time, man. And I think you're doing a good job. Keep grinding, my bro. And anything you need from me, man, I would love to collaborate with you in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. So I appreciate you for being here, man. Guys, make sure you guys like the video. Leave a comment on the goddamn video, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Thanks.